total coronavirus caseload is rising and nearing 20 million, in stark contrast to falling numbers and gradual signs of normal life in the US and Europe. Wealthier parts of the world have been able to use fast vaccination programs to help keep new infections down. The World Health Organization said Monday the global COVID 19 crisis cannot be resolved unless richer nations step up and fund recovery efforts. India has seen 8 million more cases since the end of March, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi under growing pressure to act to reverse the surge. Hospitals are overwhelmed and face shortages of medicines and oxygen. Meanwhile, Europe is looking at easing travel restrictions on foreign tourists as early as next month if they are fully vaccinated or come from a country with COVID under control. Americans are among those eyeing possible European vacations this summer, with more than 100 million in the U.S. now fully vaccinated. Florida on Monday became the latest state to lift its coronavirus restrictions, citing the effectiveness and availability of vaccines. U.S. President Joe Biden says the United States will allow more than 4 times as many refugees this year after criticism for keeping the refugee limit at a historically low level. President Biden said Monday more than 62,000 would be allowed, reversing himself just 2 weeks after his administration announced it would keep former President Donald Trump's level of 15,000 refugees. Biden says the low number did not reflect America's values as a nation that welcomes and supports refugees. U.S. health officials are reportedly getting ready to offer Pfizer's COVID 19 vaccine to more children. The New York Times reported on Monday the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is preparing to authorize Pfizer's shot for 12 to 15-year-olds by early next week. The vaccine is already approved for people age 16 and above in the U.S. and most countries. Pfizer said in March it was found to be safe and effective for the younger age group in clinical trials. West African security officials say more than 24 people in Burkina Faso were killed by suspected jihadists Monday, one of the worst such attacks in the country's history. A regional security source tells AFP many armed individuals attacked a village in the eastern part of the country, causing about 30 deaths in the civilian population and injuring around 20 people. It happened early in the morning when some people were still in their homes, as dozens of men burst into the village and set houses on fire while others stood watch and shot at people, according to a local self-defense group. It comes just a week after 3 Europeans, 2 Spanish journalists, and an Irish wildlife activist were killed in an ambush in Burkina Faso. Colombia's government said Monday at least 17 people have died and more than 800 hurt in clashes during 5 days of protests of proposed government tax reform. More than 400 arrests have been made with the military deployed in some cities. There were still protests Monday, with dozens in the capital Bogota blocking roads a day after the president withdrew the proposal trying to calm the unrest. Colombia's tax plan was heavily criticized for punishing the middle class during a pandemic to finance public spending. Moderna and vaccine promoter Gavi have announced a deal where the pharmaceutical company will provide up to 500 million coronavirus vaccine doses for the UN-backed program. The vaccines will ship to needy people in low and middle income countries by the end of 2022. The advance purchase agreement comes just days after the World Health Organization, after weeks of delay, announced emergency approval for the Moderna vaccine that will pave the way for its rollout in the UN-backed COVAX program. However, deliveries are not set to begin until the fourth quarter of this year, and the vast majority of doses in the deal, 466 million, are planned for next year. And New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says there are growing differences with China over its human rights record, but she said in a speech Monday those differences will not ultimately define New Zealand's relationship with its largest trading partner,
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.